you not heard of coronavirus?
Coronavirus?
Yes, COVID-19. You know prevention is better than cure. Always have your hand sanitizer with you. Always remember to wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. Yes. Whenever you want to sneeze or cough, you feel like this. Let's go. Fellow Nigerians, our culture encourages cleanliness.
This message is from NTA and NCAC.
If them tell you say make you quarantine yourself, now you say you go sit down for house. You no go work, you no go school, you no go anywhere where people plenty. Most importantly, you no go allow anyone to come visit you for house. If you notice say your body they do you one kind, like say you get a cough or catarrh, carry phone and call the numbers where your government don't talk say me you call. No waka go hospital until they tell you say make you come. If you live inside house with other people, make sure say you choose bedroom we get window where they carry breeze enter, they come out well. And lock yourself inside. If you share bathroom and toilet with other people, make sure say everybody don't finish before you enter. And no share towel, soap or sponge with any other person. Dirty way you want to away, suppose they inside 2 bags. Test come out say you dey positive, now that dirty they go come carry through away separately. If you dey live alone, make sure say you use your friends or your families to help you, but they must leave them by your domot. The coronavirus they cause make some people no well for body. It dey affect 4 out of 5 people this way. The self-quarantine or self-isolation way you want to do will make sure so you not infect old people or people who already get sickness for body.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, all are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world.
It is Children's Day 2020. I hereby congratulate all children in Delta State on your special day. Dear children, as you observe this day, I urge you to stay safe as the world battles to put an end to the coronavirus pandemic. Imbibe the virtues of obedience and patience. You know you are special gifts from God, so take your education more seriously. Junior and secondary school students, endeavor to avail yourself of the ongoing television and radio broadcast of Open Distance Learning Program as you stay home. And above all, children, walk in the fear of the Lord so that you can achieve your God-given potentials. God bless you and make you a blessing to your world. This message is brought to you by the wife of the governor of Delta State and founder of All 5 Initiative, Dame Edith Okowa, and her All 5 Initiative team.
Jesus' love is very wonderful. Jesus' love.
On the DRTV main news tonight, Kidnapped medical doctor in Delta State regains freedom after 1 week. Delta government attributes surge in confirmed COVID-19 to increase in testing. Rainstorm wreaks havoc in Old headquarters of Odu local government area. And ex-Super Eagles player CAF commemorate death of late Stephen Keshi. Hello, good evening. This is Warri. Welcome to Delta Rainbow Television Main News. I am CJ Waji. The kidnapped medical doctor at the Ojobos General Hospital in Borutu local government area of Delta State, Dr. Wisdom Iboyitete, has been freed by his abductors. Report says the victim was released by his abductors in the early hours of Sunday. Dr. Iboyitete, a principal officer, was kidnapped last Sunday night by gunmen pretending to be patients. The medical doctor was whisked away to an unknown destination through the creeks in the community. The Secretary, Delta State Chapter of the National Association of Government General Medical and Dental Practitioners, Dr. Ike Chukwuoko, confirmed the release of the doctor. It is not clear whether the 5 million ransom demanded by his abductors were paid for before he was released. The Delta State Chapter of the National Association of Government General Medical and Dental Practitioners has since declared an indefinite strike action to protest his abduction. The Nigerian Medical Association has also directed its members in the state to down tools if the victim was not released before Monday. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has announced 389 new cases of COVID-19 and 9 new deaths, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 12,342 deaths. 100 days after the index case was recorded on February 27, 2020. The NCDC, which made the disclosure on its official Twitter handle, said the new 389 cases confirmed on June 6 were from 23 states. The cases included 66 cases from Lagos, FCT 50, while Delta recorded its highest case in a day with 32 cases. Oyo had 31, Borno 26, Rivers 24, while Edo and Ebonyi recorded 23 new cases each. Other states with new cases were Anambra and Gombe with a record of 17 cases each. Nasarawa 14, Imo, Kanu and Sokoto 12 cases each, and Jigawa recorded 8 cases. Others are Ogun 7, Bauchi 5, Kebbi, Kaduna, Katsina and Ondo 2 cases each, while Abia and Niger State recorded 1 case each. Now, meanwhile, Nigeria Center for Disease Control said it would continue to partner other health agencies under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Health in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The health agency in a tweet said 100 days after the country recorded its index case, it is commiserating with Nigerians that have lost their loved ones to the dreaded COVID-19 pandemic. It said that in fighting COVID-19, it had played a key role in the multi-sectoral response within the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 established by President Muhammadu Buhari. It also confirmed that to ensure a well-coordinated emergency response, the agency activated a Level 3 Emergency Operations Center on February 27, adding that for the past 100 days, the number of laboratories had increased to 30 with a combined minimum capacity of 10,000 tests daily. The NCDC said that the safety of health workers had been at the forefront of Nigeria's response strategy to COVID-19, affirming that it will continue to support states with medical supplies, transportation of samples, training of health workers, risk communications and other response activities. The health agency said that it continued to work closely with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the National Orientation Agency to educate Nigerians on how they could protect themselves against the outbreak. It disclosed that the key strength of the country's response had been the strong collaboration among federal ministries, departments, agencies and partners, urging Nigerians to take individuals and collective responsibilities by adhering to public health advice such as frequent hand hygiene through hand washing or use of alcohol-based sanitizer. Now, available statistics from the health agency show that Nigeria now has 12,233 cases with 3,826 patients successfully tested and discharged and 8,065 active cases. The COVID-19 pandemic had affected over 100 countries across the world, with over 6 million people affected, and the number of deaths have exceeded 300,000 as of June 6. Now, the Chief Press Secretary to the Delta State Government, the Chief Press Secretary to the Delta State Governor, Mr. Olise Ife-Jika, has attributed the surge in confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the state to increase in community testing following the recent establishment of a testing laboratory in Asaba. Ife-Jika, in an interview in Asaba, revealed that the mobile laboratory testing center has contributed immensely to increased detection and treatment of cases of the virus in the state. He said that the establishment of the testing center in the state was part of pragmatic steps taken by Governor Ifeanyi Okowa in providing needed facilities and personnel to combat the pandemic. Now, according to him, before now, the entire South states were going to Iroa in Edo to test samples, saying the testing laboratory in Asaba had given room for testing more numbers, which are now above 900 cases. Ife-Jika stated that when other states are still grappling with what to do about the pandemic, Delta was proactive in putting necessary things, including the needed personnel. The governor's spokesman acknowledged that the relaxation of the lockdown in the state to a considerable extent may have contributed to the rising number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the state. According to him, the governor, in his wisdom, relaxed the lockdown in response to the people's yearning to return to their businesses because of the seeming hardship and restrictions engendered. Ife-Jika, however, disclosed that schools, nightclubs, bars and lounges are still locked down, adding that the closure of the state's boundaries ordered by the governor before the federal government's ban on interstate movement was still in force. He said that aside from the directive that all prescribed protocols of stemming the spread of for stemming the spread of the virus must be observed, wearing a face mask in public places, including worship centers and markets, was compulsory in the state, adding that there were penalties for defaulters. The Ondo State government says it has arrested an escaped coronavirus patient at the popular Ojaoba market in Akure, the Ondo State capital. The Ondo State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Wahab Ade Benro, who confirmed the development, explained that the escape of the patient prompted both the Imo and Ondo State governments to mount surveillance for her. The patient, a female, was said to be a trader selling second-handed clothes, popularly known as Okrika, in market. It was gathered that the patient had been diagnosed with a deadly disease in Imo State before she traveled down to Akure, the Ondo State capital, without submitting herself to treatment. The tracking eventually paid off when she was traced to Oba, where she was eventually picked up. The General Overseer, Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, has commended the federal government handling of the coronavirus pandemic. Pastor Adeboye, speaking during a live broadcast monitored on Do Television, said that the federal government's decision to ease lockdown on religious gathering was a wise one, adding that no one would have been able to lock down the whole world forever. Adeboye, who noted that God is a master planner, urged Christians to worship him in truth The lockdown will be turned around in their favor. President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday, June 1st, lifted the ban on religious gatherings across the country. The ban was placed on religious gatherings to curb the spread of coronavirus. Now, 35 women of Ward 8 in Okwe local government area have received financial post-COVID-19 measures to enable them revive and boost their businesses. The Women Empowerment, organized by two legislative aides to the Deputy President of the Senate, Mr. Man United Oke, and Mr. Samuel Erasiri, as well as the philanthropist based in the United States of America, Mr. Eloho Afure, which held at Adeje, were targeted at the economically disadvantaged persons in the ward. The drtv news correspondent Ifeoma Nkemacho has details.
One after the other, the women received the sum of 10,000 naira as part of the post-COVID-19 palliatives to women drawn from 12 villages that make up Ward 8 in Okwe local government area. The Women Empowerment Program put together by two legislative aides to the Deputy President of the Senate from the council area, Mr. Man United Oke, and Mr. Samuel Erasiri, as well as a philanthropist based in the United States of America, Mr. Elo Afure, had a total of 35 women empowered on Friday, 5th of June 2020. Some of the benefiting women in an interview said it was timely, commendable, and appreciated the donors for their sacrifice to the women in Okwe Ward 8.
May God bless them. May God favor them. Money they present to me, I will take out and trade the trade. I will be rich out of this money. I have nothing to do. I'll look for something to do with it. God will cover them with the shadow of his wings. I'm not very close. After God my God, after the God will bless them. God will bless them in return.
Their two legislative aides to the Deputy President of the Senate, Mr. Man United Oke and Mr. Samuel Erasiri, said the financial assistance to women in Ward 8 will be extended to some of the youths. The duo explains that selection for the women empowerment was done based on those in their need, adding that some Igaras and Yorubas residing in Adeje also benefited to assist them in growing their businesses. According to the legislative aides, they decided to give out their May salary as COVID-19 palliative, which was supported by the US-based philanthropists to cushion the economic plight faced by the people due to the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Oke and Mr. Erasiri, however, thanked the Deputy President of the Senate, Oviem Wagi, for the opportunity given to them to empower others.
Mainly for selection, we try as much as possible to identify those women that are doing small business, those people that can appreciate that little thing that we are giving to add to their business or other business to do. That is the basis for the selection. And secondly, to support what our distinguished senator is doing. And today, by this, we're empowering 35 persons, 35 women. The envelope contains 10,000 naira each.
Other political aides from Okwe accompanied Mr. Man United Oke and Mr. Samuel Erasiri during the Women Empowerment Program. 7 women are expected to benefit from the same financial empowerment next week. For drtv News, Ifeoma Nkemacho reporting.
A rainstorm on Friday wreaked havoc on Ota Udu community, the headquarters of Udu local government area. The rainstorm destroyed buildings including that of a woman of over 80 years who narrowly escaped being trapped in the house she was when the storm blew off the roof. The report.
Though the Friday rain lasted for less than 1 hour, the storm that came with it caused massive destruction in Otodo community. The the headquarters of Udo local government area. The storm destroyed 3 high-tension electric poles and 11 service electric poles, thereby throwing the community into darkness. Roofs of several houses were blown off, including that of a woman that is over 80 years. She escaped the falling ceiling of the house by the whiskers. The storm destroyed both the roof and litter of a church close to Jeremy Junction. Fish farms and other structures used for trading were also destroyed by the raging storm. Speaking about her experience, the octogenarian said her escape from the house or hurt was a miracle. Pastor Moses Bekare thanked God that no life was lost during the storm. Pastor Bekare, however, appealed to the state and Udo local governments as well as other relevant stakeholders to assist Otodo community in rebuilding the damaged structures.
We thank God that there was no casualty. I want to appeal. Some of these people that have this building, they don't even have where they impact, and they don't have money to roof the house. As for Assembly, Delta State government, the local government, they should come to our aid to relieve the pains of these people that the storm damaged their house.
Collaborating the call for government's intervention towards ameliorating the hardship the rainstorm has brought on the people of Otodo community, the Secretary General of the community, Comrade Nelson Ogage, said the leadership has relocated some of the victims to safe places.
This is the first time we're seeing this kind of storm in this community, and at least the community has a good drainage system. It was just, let me call it a natural disaster that just occurred. It has never been like this before.
As at the time of this report, wires of the falling electric poles were still lying on the ground, while residents were also seen clearing the rubble left behind by the rainstorm. For DRTV News, I am Nelson Miller.
The Delta State Governor, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, has congratulated former Deputy Governor of the state, Chief Benjamin Elue, on his 80th birthday. Governor Okowa, in a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Ms. Olisa Ifeajika, eulogized the renowned teacher, entrepreneur, and politician for his humility, dedication, and loyalty, which he had continued to exemplify in his commitment to the unity and growth of the state and the People's Democratic Party. He said the former deputy governor is a loyal, patriotic administrator and accomplished leader whose in our citizens would remain unforgettable. Governor Okowa expressed delight that the former deputy governor at his age has remained strong and supportive in the development of the state, and joined his friends and associates in celebrating his remarkable life of service. You're watching the DRTV News. We'll take a break. More reports after this time out. Stay with us.
Okowa has written his name on gold plates. He has done really, really well. He has taken it upon himself to take young women, youths off the streets by empowering them.
Okowa, among the governors of this country, has done creditably, because for me, the greatest kind of development in governance is human capital development.
I would say a big thank you to our amiable governor. They have turned our lives around. We, the youth, have not been privileged to do white-collar job. Today I can boast I'm the owner of a company, and as well having people that is working under me. So I'm a fulfilled man.
I was empowered by the state government with 1 canopy and 100 shares, but now I have more than 10 canopies and I have more than 300 shares. I want to say a big thank you to Governor Okowa.
It is a very challenging time for us all. We must therefore come together, support our government and health personnel to fight against and stop the spread of coronavirus pandemic. We must endeavor to
prevent infections by washing your hands with soap and running water for at least 20 seconds.
You can also use alcohol-based hand sanitizer if you don't have immediate access to soap and water.
It is natural to cough and sneeze, but when you do it into your elbow like this, or into a tissue paper like this. Dispose immediately to protect yourself and everyone around you.
In these trying times, it is important to avoid unnecessary socializing as much as you can. Avoid crowded spaces.
Maintain at least 6 feet between yourself and the next person. Make sure to wear a face mask whenever you appear in public. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose and mouth.
And when you feel sick, please by all means necessary, stay at home and immediately seek medical attention.
Most importantly, if you are experiencing symptoms like fever,
dry cough, running nose,
body ache,
sore throat, difficulty in breathing,
tiredness and diarrhea.
In all of this, please make sure to maintain good personal hygiene.
Please do not hesitate to call the Delta State COVID-19 response number.
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, all the precious children of the world.
It is Children's Day 2020. I hereby congratulate all children in Delta State on your special day. Dear children, as you observe this day, I urge you to stay safe as the world battles to put an end to the coronavirus pandemic. Imbibe the virtues of obedience and patience. You know you are special gifts from God, so take your education more seriously. Junior and secondary school students, endeavor to avail yourself of the ongoing television and radio broadcast of Open Distance Learning Program as you...
You're welcome back. You're still watching the DRTV News live from Warri. Today is World Food Safety Day. The World Health Organization set aside June 7 each year to create awareness on the safety of foods which are consumed by man. The essence of the day is to ensure that food commodities stay safe at every stage of the food chain, which are from production to harvest, processing, storage and distribution. It is estimated that over 600 million cases of foodborne illnesses come from foods that have been contaminated due to poor preservation. The theme of the 2020 World Food Safety Day is Food Safety, Everyone's Business. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has expressed its determination to adhere to sustainable environment practices in all its operations to safeguard biodiversity in the country. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kari, said this on Friday in Abuja in his keynote address to commemorate the 2020 World Environment Day celebration with the theme Biodiversity. Malam Kari said that the corporation will continue to be guided by sound environmental policies and standards that its operations do not harm the environment and the communities of creatures. He noted that the NNPC's firm position on sustainable environmental practices has been reignited by the theme of the 2020 World Environment Day, which seeks to raise further awareness on conservation of biodiversity. Biodiversity, the NNPC GMD explained, has remained the single most important factor that enable all living creatures to depend on the mutual services of one another in order to ensure survival, a balanced ecosystem, and the sustainability of the planet. It stated further that the emergence of pandemics such as the novel coronavirus, a virus that was said to be common to Asian bats, has provided greater insights on how biodiversity equilibrium can shift, making one from animals to people. Malam Kari decried that over the years, the world has been impacted by deforestation, expansion of agriculture, mining activities, and massive infrastructure development, stressing that these activities have directly or indirectly impacted the balance of biodiversity, making wild species and alien organisms struggle to find new homes. The federal government has announced its confiscation of a private jet belonging to our former Minister of Petroleum, drtv, who has been on a loggerhead with the federal government over the controversial $1.1 billion Malibu oil deal. The report says that the Bombardier 6000 jet with tail number MMYNA was seized at the Montreal Trudeau International Airport, Canada, penultimate Friday. Nigeria's Counsel Babatunde Johnson, speaking on the development, noted that government have been tracking the movement of the jet for some time, adding that the seizure was on the strength of the order of a court in the province of Quebec, which granted the federal government's prayer to that effect. The jet was registered in the name of Tibet Limited, an anonymous-owned company incorporated in the British Virgin Islands, and the company has been given up to Tuesday, June 9, to oppose the court order. An Islamic group, Nasrul Lahil Faith Society of Nigeria, has joined other Nigerians to call for stricter penalties against gender-based violence in the country. The chairman of NASFAT in Kaduna State, Engineer Mayuddin Yusuf, who made the call in a statement in Kaduna, said it became necessary following the murder of one Vera Omozua, who was raped and killed by unknown people in a church in Benin City, Edo State. Is that the high level of rape recently in the country saddens the sane mind, adding that something should be done about the escalation of gender-based violence against women and girl child in Nigeria, with steps for urgent action to stem the development. Yusuf, who noted that the recent rape and gruesome murder, Barakat Bello and many others, were totally unacceptable, said the cruelty is alien to all faith and cultures in Nigeria, and as such everyone should condemn the barbaric violence in all ramifications. Now, calling on all religious organizations, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations and citizens to join hands with the government at all levels to stop the evils that have infested the Nigerian society. There's no excuses or any justification whatsoever that is acceptable from the perpetrators of the cruelty. It will be recalled that Nigerians in recent days called for an end to rape in the country, a move that became imperative following the gruesome murder of one Vera Omozua, unknown people in the church in Benin City. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and non-OPEC allies, known as OPEC Plus, have agreed to extend the 10 million barrel per day first phase of the oil output cut by 1 month to July 2020. The group made the disclosure in a statement released at the end of its online meeting in Vienna on Saturday. At the just concluded meeting, attendees agreed that countries that subscribe to the Declaration of Cooperation that were unable to fully conform to the cut in May and June 2020 will be compensated. The OPEC Plus also called on other major oil producers across the world to proportionally contribute to the establishment of the oil market and stabilization of the oil market, taking into consideration the substantial efforts made by the OPEC and non-OPEC participating countries. The meeting further emphasized that it was vital that DOC partners and all major producers remain fully committed to efforts aimed at balancing and stabilizing the market. It will be recalled that OPEC and its allies under the OPEC Plus had agreed to cut supply by up to 10 million barrels per day between May and June 2020. And now to sports. Joseph Yobo and the Confederation of African Football have paid heartfelt tribute to commiserate the death of former Super Eagles head coach Stephen Keshi. Joseph Yobo had written on his Instagram page, "Dear coach, it's been 4 years today since you left us to rest with the Lord. You are deeply missed, but your legacy lives on. Rest on, the big boss." End of quote. Now, similarly, CAF posted an emotional tribute to the late Keshi With a quote, "Today we remember Captain Fantastic Stephen Keshi, who left our world on this sad day 4 years ago." End of quote. It will be recalled that in 2013, Stephen Keshi became the second person to win the AFCON titles as player 1994 and coach when he led the Super Eagles to their third trophy in South Africa. Keshi was capped 64 times by Nigeria and scored 9 goals. Keshi passed on after suffering a heart attack on June 7, 2016 at the age of 54. In a bid to restart on June 17, the English Premier League received a major boost after the latest round of COVID-19 tests came out with no new positive cases. The league, in a statement, noted that in the 6th round of the screening conducted on Thursday and Friday, a total of 1,195 players and club staff were tested, and of the lot, none came out positive. It added that from an overall 6,274 tests carried out on Premier League players and club staff, there have been just 13 positive cases. The league said its testing will continue twice weekly as officials look to resume the season that was put on hold in March. Nigeria-born British boxer Anthony Joshua has joined the Black Lives Matter protest, but with a warning that demonstrations should not be done for any selfish reason. Joining many other celebrities, the world heavyweight champion marched through the streets with other co-protesters before speaking to the gathering at the park. In a speech shared via his official Instagram account, 30-year-old Joshua said, "Blacks, we can no longer sit back and remain silent on these senseless, unlawful killings and slave raised unjust." And with that, we've come to the end of our bulletin tonight, but just before we go, a quick look at the highlights. The kidnapped medical doctor at the Ojobo General Hospital in Borutu local government area of Delta State, Dr. Wisdom Iboyite, has been freed by his abductors. Reports say the victim was released by his abductors in the early hours of Sunday. The Chief Press Secretary to the Delta State Governor, Mr. Olisa Ifejika, has attributed the surge in confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the state to increase in community testing following the recent establishment of a testing laboratory in Asaba. Ifejika, in an interview in Asaba, revealed that the mobile laboratory testing center has contributed immensely to increase detection and treatment of cases of the virus in the state. And also told you that a rainstorm on Friday wreaked havoc on Oto-Odu community, the headquarters of Odu local government area. The Friday rain, which lasted for less than an hour, came with a storm that caused massive destruction in the community. That's our news. Thanks for watching. Do have yourself a beautiful week ahead. Bye-bye.